video. Happy Friday. I hope you guys have had an awesome week. I have had a really great week uploading 5 days. I had so much fun uploading 5 videos this week that I have decided to make that my new schedule. So going forward, I am going to be uploading Monday through Friday, you know, unless something happens when my kids get sick or something, but that is my new plan going forward. So if you enjoyed this week's videos and you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe because there will be lots more coming. So today, I'm kind of in mom mode here. I've got my comfy clothes on. I'm running my kids around to their various sporting activities. But I wanted to test out this new little set from Crown Pro, and I discovered Crown through BoxyCharm. I actually talked about this brush yesterday and how this has become my new favorite contour brush. There's a lot of really great brushes from Crown. My kids and I were at Showcase yesterday looking around, and I saw this new release from Crown Pro, and it is a little sponge duo, and it says blend and bake. So it says blend your face and bake your look. This was $9.99, and what you get is a silicone sponge and then also a latex-free sponge. Now I know that the silicone sponges were all the rage last year. They were trending, no one could get their hands on them, and that's kind of, you know, I think that trend has kind of died out now. I was a little bit more interested in trying out the baking sponge. This feels kind of like just a small flat beauty blender, and I really like the idea of having a sponge just for baking. I'm not the biggest fan of baking with a brush. I usually just grab those little sponge wedges from the dollar store, but I thought this would kind of be neat to try, and I never have tested out a silicone sponge, so we're gonna do this. This feels like what I imagine a boob implant would feel like. All right, I'm gonna zoom you guys in. I have no makeup on. The only thing I am wearing, where did you go? Is the Farsali Unicorn Essence. I just like to use this as a primer, so that is on my skin, but that is it. So I think I'm gonna actually use my IT Cosmetics CC Cream. I love this, you guys. This is in the shade Light, if you're curious, and it's just a really nice, I'd say light to medium foundation, really. I don't consider this to have the same coverage as most of my CC creams. It's definitely a little more buildable. So anyways, okay, I'm gonna zoom you guys in and we're gonna test this out. So it did say to apply the foundation directly to the silicone sponge. So we'll start with that much and we'll see how this works. All right, so I guess maybe I'll just start kind of, you guys, what am I doing? I guess I'll just kind of pat it around first and then try and blend it out. Learning curve. I feel like this is just kind of making a mess. Ah, you guys, this is one of my favorite foundations and it never applies like this. Oh, you guys. Okay, I really don't like this. It is just like moving my foundation around. Nothing is really sitting nicely. For some reason, the foundation isn't really absorbing, and every time I move the brush, I just pick up more foundation and then wipe it somewhere else. So what I'm gonna do is actually just wipe this off and see if that helps. So I think the trick would really be to, you know, apply the foundation initially with your silicone sponge, and then once you spread it out, wipe it off so that you can just work on blending and not just kind of like repositioning the foundation all over your skin. So what's strange, you guys, is that this foundation actually looks more oxidized on my skin today with this applicator than it does with the brush that I usually use or my regular beauty blender sponge. This is so weird. I think the main difference is that the regular beauty sponges that I use and the brushes kind of buff everything into the skin, where this kind of just like smooths it out. I'm actually gonna take my brush and just kind of smooth everything out so it looks a little bit more uniform. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll go ahead and test out the baking sponge. And now I'm gonna go ahead and take the baking sponge, and today I'm using my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. This is one of my favorites. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dip the brush in, and it actually, or sorry, the sponge, and it actually picks up a decent amount of product. Go ahead and just tap this under my eyes. All right, so I'm gonna zoom you guys out. I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup. I'm gonna let this bake for about 10 minutes and then we'll wipe it off and I will let you guys know my thought on this little brush. Okay, so I have kind of touched up the rest of my makeup. It's very minimal. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off this bake. I'm using a brush from Lexi. This is their 640 Pro Precision Tapered. I think I got this in a BoxyCharm and it's a really, really good one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe this off and okay, that actually looks really good. I feel like this sponge actually did a really nice job of placing the bake under my eyes and keeping it there. Sometimes if I use a brush, everything just kind of falls down, it ends up on my clothes and it's not really placed on the area that I'm trying to bake. So this actually did a really nice job of helping me to set my under eye makeup. And you might have noticed that I didn't put concealer under my eyes today. I just kind of baked on top of the foundation. And that's like how good this stuff is, this powder from Laura Mercier. It brightens enough for me that I don't need to use a concealer when I use it, unless I'm like super tired or something, but you can probably see how it's just brightened up that area and everything's very smooth. And I like when I bake only to try and use one product because that way I'm not layering so much and I don't get that like cake face thing, even though I'm baking. Final thoughts on this little duo are kind of split down the middle. I really hated the silicone sponge. It just moved my makeup around. I had to keep wiping it off and I really felt like it didn't apply this foundation from IT Cosmetics that I wear quite often as nicely as a regular beauty blender or a regular buffing brush does. This I won't be reaching for. I really, really didn't like it. This, however, I really, really liked. Now, this set together was $9.99. So, I mean, I guess you kind of have to take that as it is. I have seen other sponges very similar to this that I will try and link below if you are interested in trying to find something. If Crown were to sell this alone, I would definitely suggest it. But I don't know, this was a major fail for me. So I don't know that I would recommend the duo because I feel like $9.99 for just one sponge that works really well isn't really the best. And I do usually just use the little wedges that you can buy at the dollar store. I mentioned those in my beauty products that I only purchase at the dollar store video, and they really do work in a similar manner to this. I feel like this might have packed on the powder just a little bit more, but they are very close. So I don't feel like this was a total win for me. Definitely not the silicone sponge. This was good. I'll continue to use it because I have it. But when it kind of breaks down and wears out, I won't repurchase the set just for this, if that makes sense. I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you enjoyed this week's videos. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you guys have tried either of these sort of baking and blending sponges, I would love to hear from you in the comments below, especially what is your take on the silicone sponge. I don't know, I really didn't love it, but I know some people do, so I would love to hear your thoughts below. Thanks so much for being here, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Take care of each other, and I'll see you soon. Bye.